Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Hungry Poets podcast, where I actually show my face and actually have a video of my face. And what I plan on doing is just reading some poems, going over some public domain poems, going over my what I've been doing with my life and stuff like that. Interesting stuff. So, wanted to read some Longfellow, Henry Longfellow. His stuff rhymes a lot, so it's kind of hard to get into, and then we'll probably go through some song lyrics. I just want to read some stuff, unscripted. I don't even know what the poem is I want to read, so I'll skip this part. It's page 5. Okay, this is A Psalm of Life by Henry Longfellow. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. No enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still muffle drums and beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, here within and God overhead. Lives of great men all remind us, we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time, footprints that perhaps another sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. So I just wanted to read a poem to introduce this whole thing. And recently I've been trying to read a lot of fiction books, but I haven't. For some reason, I find like fiction prose to be so boring when I read it. It's just like I fall asleep and it gets really I try to focus on the characters and it just doesn't work too well. I guess I skim too much or something, but I'm trying to improve my retention skills of paying attention when I'm reading longer works, because poetry is really short stuff usually, but and the next thing I want to read is a poem by Steve Rogenbook. I don't think I've ever read a poem by him before out loud, on the internet. I have quoted him in my book. In fact, the very poem I'm about to read, I quoted in my the book I've released. But this is a very profound poem, but the title is kind of disgusting, but it's kind of a joke, I guess. Like most things in this book, it's humor. It's he bridges on humor. It's kind of like a non-serious poetry, but a lot of the topics are kind of serious. But this book is, see the blatant misspelling here. It's just part of the art, I guess. This is the name of the book. Let's get to the poem again. Here's the poem. Freeze my poop using colder poop. Yeah, I told you. Okay. In the countryside where my dad lives, it is beautiful with windmills and stars. And I know we can help each other achieve for free the fulfillment that corporations are trying to sell us. Fuck yeah, dude. Justin Bieber is my fucking dad. Nothing is promised in the future. Right now is the time to be with people. And fuck any poet who wouldn't tell their audience I love you, because it's a cliche. If you're reading this, I love you. If you're alive, I love you. And this is a really the one thing I wish was better about this book is like if it was longer, but let's see, it's like 200 pages, but the thing is the pages are really short and a lot of the text is like really blown up like this. But I guess poetry is pretty much about making a statement. It's not about like who can write the most text, but like this was actually his best stuff, like taken from selected poems from 2008 to 2015. It's about the same amount of time I've been active, like writing poetry. But the reason I can just I only read stuff that I think is in the public domain or that the author would allow me to read on this channel. Because I'd read other poems, like for example, like another Boost House book by Raul Alvarez, the Sorry poem, which is a really great poem. I would have read that, but it's got copyright issues, so I wouldn't read it. But copyrighted works, because in addition to the fact that I'd get in trouble, probably, maybe not, but in addition to that, I want to actually promote the author's works that I'm reading from. So I mean, if the book is really short and I read the entire book to someone, then there's really no reason for someone to buy the book. So that's another reason. But this is in the public domain, as he states here. I can't find this online anywhere, but if you can read that. It says this book is intended to be in the public domain. Feel free to share, remix, or reprint as you like. And I think that's a really great approach to I mean, it really makes you a unique artist if you can do that. You're so good that you don't even need like copy protection on your work. And let's look at this poem again. Let's go back to it. What are the lines that I quote in my book here? There's 2 lines here. Fuck any poet who wouldn't tell their audience I love you, because it's a cliche. If you're reading this, I love you. Both of those lines I quote almost directly in my book, and I'll just find the poem and just want to show how I directly rip off, not rip off, but like work with. This is number 11. I don't even know what division this is in. Division 4. Division 4, number 11. And this is the limited edition version of my second edition of my book. We are alone. In a world where we refuse to feel pain. I talked to someone who feels my pain. She died 100 years ago. Our dreams come true. I have the same dream every night. I look for you and can't find you. Never let anyone tell you you are not a poet. The ones pulling the strings never had human hearts. I want to disappear. I lost my human heart. I wake up at night to the sound of bombs, and if you're reading this, I love you. Even if I forget what you look like, never let anyone tell you it's a cliche to tell you that I love you. Because every day I walk through these Bishop O'Connell hallways and I realize that if I never told you I loved you, I'd be better off in hell, better off invisible so that no one can see me, and I still go to class. No one notices I'm not enrolled, no one notices I exist. Wars have always torn our nations apart. I've forgotten how to be a poet, to take in every moment. This is everything we predicted. We hear music, giving our lives meaning, taking every breath away. I can't get myself outside. The world's a dreadful place. You only live once, you'll fall in love with death. Because we won't exist, the summer goes on, goes by. Our years vanish, we are alone. So this poem actually, it goes through a number of things. It's first thing you'll observe is that it starts and ends with the same sentence, we are alone. And in a world where we refuse to feel pain, which basically means that the pain is so overwhelming that you just don't acknowledge it anymore. It's the only way to deal with it. I talked to someone who feels my pain. She died 100 years ago, which refers to the praying to saints and stuff, hoping. There's always that hope that someone hears you. That so you turn to religion to. Because no one in the real world is listening. You turn to religion and hopefully it's like a ghost will answer your prayers. Something that you can't, that's not tangible, that can't talk back. And our dreams come true. I have the same dream every night. I look for you and can't find you. And that's actually a personal line about dreams you have about whether it's someone you knew years ago and you just start randomly remembering someone for no reason, no real reason. Subsequent dreams, every day of a week, you just have flashbacks about one person, whether it was a romantic interest or just a very close friendship that you lost, and you can't find that person. You walk up to them, they remind you of all the times you had as a kid, or when you were younger, and that a time that you can't get back, and you look for that person or that thing, you can't find it. And then there's the next line, which says, "Never let anyone tell you are not a poet. The ones pulling the strings never had human hearts." And this basically says that you have a voice, so you need to speak out against the social injustices that are going on in the world, that are causing other people to go through the same problems you've been through in your life, that are causing the cycle to repeat. And then it says, I want to disappear, I lost my human heart, which basically means that you want to, rather than face the situation, you just want to be take the coward's way out. And in doing so, you never helped the other people. You became part of the machine. And then I wake up at night to the sound of bombs, which is really the culmination of not helping anyone. Because after problems escalate, it always ends in something catastrophic, because that's the way things, the entropy of the world is, when things get bad, they tend to get worse, and the rich people get richer, the poor people get poorer, unless acted upon by another force. That's usually what happens. And if you're reading this, I love you. And this shifts to another character, and it's like a love interest, sort of, I think. And if you're reading this, I love you, even if I forget what you look like. So, this other character is doing the opposite of what the last one was doing. Never let anyone tell you, it's a cliche to tell you that I love you, because in this part, the character is telling the beloved that when they tell you you can't say certain words or you can't do certain things, what they're really trying to do is shut you up so that you don't have a voice anymore. And then this relates to my it shifts again to me, because this is a personal experience down here. This is no longer a character. This is actually talking about a corrupted version of myself. Because every day I walk through the Bishop O'Connell hallways and I realize that if I never told you I loved you, I'd be better off in hell. Better off invisible so that no one can see me, and I still go to class. No one notices I'm not enrolled. No one notices I exist. And this is just calling back to the loneliness I felt during high school, and because let me read this again. Well, because of how terrible the experience is in high school for some people, like how lonely it is, it brings back memories whenever you think about it. And this is the reason why you want to tell the person that you love them. Because if you don't, then it's the same cycle that happens every day. Like, you need something to get out of that, like, that routine, even though this is just remembering high school, and then the person's like saying, yeah, I remember all this stuff went down, and this is why I have to tell you I love you, because if we don't do something about our problems, no one else will. Wars have always torn our nations apart, and now this might be a fourth character here, talking about the war. It actually might be going back to the last one about how I wake up at night to the sound of bombs. Wars have always torn our nations apart, and then I've forgotten how to be a poet, to take in every moment. This is everything we predicted. Because they can predict what would happen. I'm really struggling here. But, okay. They can predict what would happen based on just how things have been going in the past. And, like, because nothing will break the strangle of the routine, which really kills love. And we hear music giving our lives meaning, taking every breath away. I can't get myself outside, the world's a dreadful place. You only live once, you'll fall in love with death because we won't exist. So here's another sequence about pretty much telling the same thing. I can't get myself outside, the world's a dreadful place. Because the world's so dreadful, you don't want to get on and improve it, so it's a vicious cycle again. Our years vanish, we are alone. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say about the poem. Now I think I'm going to end by reading some short poems from my new book project called Unity, which is not the actual name of the book, but code name for the project that I have. I need to cross that out. Let me find where I want to read. You have flaws, but what does that matter? I love you the same as ever. When we don't speak to each other, how can we hope to know anything? What we have together is perfect unity. We know the pain will end. The first fruits of a new creation, the days that pass in my desk job, waiting for the world to implode. At the end, the world was celebrating, living riotously. No images in my mind, just abstractions that are never viable. We return to the notebooks in which we wrote down our dreams. You tell me that you are so incredibly scared of death and the judgment. Another moment sitting on the school bus, but I don't say anything. Violence inside of me, the world will one day burn. The world belongs to us. When I was 10, I felt comfort and peace in the words you said to me. on our trip to the beach, and I saw the crashing waves despite the encroaching storm. The band takes the stage again, inspiring the world. The hours are silent, waiting here for what may or may not be forever. I wait for you when I fall asleep and dream of you. You are staring at your iPhone, reading old messages. There's something about music that words cannot express. I collapse into the arms of the one who feels my pain, writing poems about those I don't know, but they are dead. Not enough energy to write or to get anything done. I cannot complete what I set out to do. She walks into the bar after the long day. She prefers to be alone. She drinks her pain away. She knows nothing she has is solid. I will stand here. I will always answer you, even if you become my enemy. On the day of our best friend's funeral, she stands in the back of the room. She is done weeping. I trust you with my life. I make the same mistake every day. I run away from you. Running down the alleyway. One day we will escape and we will be together as the best of friends. All I do is sit at home and listen to these Silverstein records, remembering the days when breathing was not painful. The darkness in my room reminds me that I am abandoned. We have to let the words out because we do not understand what they mean. And I think that's all I want to read right now. So thank you. Whitman video will be up soon. The first part of this whole Song of Myself for the 1855 edition audiobook. That's what I'm talking about. I'm still working on my next book projects. Got 5 of them in the works. First there's Apathy Edition 3. Then there's the project I've been working on with my mother. There's the Unity project, which I just read. And the Leaves of Grass project, Leaves of Grass Volume 2, which is from the perspective of a fictional Walt Whitman. And then there is the pen name project, which I'm working on under an undisclosed pen name, which I probably won't even reveal to anyone. I just want to have a completely secret identity, but no one's going to know who it is. So thanks for listening, watching, and goodbye.